What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be playing around with Rise to Ruins, actually, because in the last couple months, the developer has started patching the game again and filling it out with more content and adding more things to it. I feel like this is one of those games that I've been covering for, like, the vast majority of my career. I feel like I played this back to even, like, the simplest betas back when there was, like, not even any mechanics. It was just, like, a village that ran itself, and you just used buttons with god powers to blow people up. But what is Rise to Ruins? Rise to Ruins is basically black and white if you got... So it's black and white if you got rid of the giant lion creature, but you kept the god powers, like I can summon meteors, and I can blow things up with lightning, and I can summon windstorms and make floods happen. If you got rid of the big giant wolf monster walking around, you still gave me god powers, and then you gave it a solid infusion of, like, stronghold, basically. You will be endlessly attacked by the undead hordes that are slowly crawling across the map and building more and more facilities to attack you. Just like you're playing the game, they are also playing the game, and the goal of the game is just to survive as long as possible. Now, this rollout is actually an important rollout because the developers restructured the game a little bit. This panel right here is the new progression system that you get as a god. You will do achievements on each playthrough. As you do achievements, you will get god XP. You can spend that god XP on stuff in between rounds. And so I think the game got a little bit more structured with this build, and I think that's probably a good thing. Now, where are we in the game at the moment? At the moment, I'm just building up stuff, in all honesty. So I've got my little, this is my lumberjacking area over here, so that if we need to go jack it in the woods, we can go do it. Over on this side, we've got the mining facility. It's taking care of all the stones. Everybody's getting stoned. Over here, we've got our farm, which just grows like carrots and stuff. We have an entirely carrot-based diet. Over here, we have the rock tumbler, which is where we make bullets for all of our towers that are protecting us right now from invaders. And so if they keep coming up north and they keep spreading, which they undoubtedly will because that's the entire point of the game, we have a couple of turrets up here that are shooting them to death. Your civilians don't really fight unless they absolutely have to. They will start fighting at will later on once you start turning them into warriors and militia and stuff like that. But for right now, civilians will only fight if they're really pressed and cornered. This right here is the central building of our society. It's called the Large Settlement. Do not neglect this building right here. Every single building in the game can be upgraded like 550 times, and I think one of the things new players get frustrated with in this game is the build limit. They'll be like, I have a limit on how much I can build. How do I get around that? I'm so frustrated right now. I built my auxiliary, now I don't have anything else that I can do. The way that you do that is by upgrading your central town a lot. Like, every time you feel like you're slowly getting stuck on, like, population, womp womp, go ahead and start upgrading things in the center tower. Before we go any further, you can get this game down in the description if you wanted to get it for yourself. You can also take a look down there if you wanted to hang out with me live. Pretty solid chance that I may stream this game either sometime this weekend, depending on when this gets uploaded, or maybe sometime early next week. This is a game that, like, I unabashedly adore. That's from, like, a better time in indie gaming when games were still trying to do, like, novel stuff. And we're still just, like, playing around with formulas and having really interesting art styles. I don't know. I feel like products have gotten too sleek and streamlined now. There's, like, a triple A-ification of indie games that is not present in these older indie titles from like 2013. And so when I come across the rare one that's still being developed after all these years, where it's turning into like a lifelong project for the developer, I get excited about it because there was a novelty, and I think there was a naivete. I think there was a fresh-facedness to indie games that were coming out between like 2009 and like 2015, and then after that, it's when all the big publishers started getting involved and kind of capitalizing on indie aesthetics in order to make boatloads of money with every single release. So, I'm gonna hop off my podium. What am I working on right now? Well, we've got our wheel over here of time. The enemy is gonna come at night. We're at about noon right now, and for your society to function, it needs a number of things. Now, at the beginning of the game, there's a big world map. You decide where you want to build your first place at. I picked, I think it said it was like an arid coast or something like that. It's not honestly that arid. It's been raining non-stop since I got here, but you do need to collect water for all your civilians in this game. You do need to collect food for all of them, and so you can see right here I've got a rain catcher. The rain catcher gets offloaded by the water master into the well. People can come to the well to get a drink. I also have, or a fountain, I guess. I also have a well over here. A well is like a really weak building that just slowly generates water over and over and over again, just in case you're going through like a drought or something like that. I'll upgrade it right now so that it'll generate water even faster. Droughts are going to be a thing that you're going to have to worry about in this game by the time you get to summer. I think that I've had more than a few colonies wiped out just by not having enough water when summer gets here. Like sitting on top of 12,000 water and thinking I'm good for 8 days worth of consumption. And as it turns out, I am not. This left-hand panel over here is where you can assign workers. Right now I have free workers. Right now I have builders, carpenters. You can freely flow these guys around and allocate them as you wish. You can also choose what color their outfits are going to be. So you can make everybody have a uniform outfit if you wanted to have kind of a command and conquer faction thing going on and get your Hell March on. Alternatively, you could dress them all up like Starfleet. So you could have engineering and you could have science and all that kind of stuff. Are these clouds new? I feel like these clouds are new. You can mouse over. I really, really like that detail. If you mouse over clouds, they disappear, and then you can see what's underneath them. There's also treasure chests around on the map. They will give you various bonuses and weapons and swords and stuff like that. But with what I'm working on right now, I'm actually just working on getting my defense completely and totally provided for. That's pretty much the only thing that I'm working on, and that largely depends on the tumbler over here. For right now, though, I have enough rooms for everybody to stay inside of, so I'm not too worried about our population having enough houses. You can check how much housing you have up here in the top left. It said that nomads should be arriving pretty soon. There's a big pop-up on screen when nomads arrive that's like jingly jing, so on and so forth. Once nomads arrive, so we shouldn't miss it once they get here, but I'm also in the process of cutting down the forest on this side so that I can have some more building space on the opposite end that is not facing the enemy on that side. Corruption! No! The corruption is spreading! Whatever shall we do? I've got rock tumblers. They're over here. They should be tumbling rocks at some point. Those are dead bodies right there. Zombies attack in the middle of the night, and we've been gunning down a lot of zombies. The good news is we also have dogs. Look, here's the most important part of my entire society. I have a doghouse, and dogs live inside of it and do dog-related stuff. I know, isn't that rad? Don't you just love it? I'm gonna upgrade all my trash cans too. This game has a mechanic where if you have too much trash laying around, the trash will coalesce and it will become trash golems and slime piles and like mercury oozes, and then they'll attack your village, which then exacerbates the issue of enemies attacking you from the exterior, because now you have monsters spawning inside your base that are made out of garbage and kind of trying to eat you like the poo monster from Dogma. Kind of like that. I'm going to upgrade all my trash cans because they're looking a little bit full right now. I tend to treat my colony kind of like it's Disneyland. Did you know that, so the Disney company, they did extensive research on the perfect spacing of trash cans so as to minimize the amount of litter that there will be inside your theme park. I forget what the specific figure was, but they mathematically figured out the perfect spacing for garbage cans to minimize the chance that someone will litter. I have no clue how they did this. It's some kind of like behavioral sociology or something. Absolutely wild, though, that human beings could even figure that out. I do think we're going to need some more defenses. It looks like we are mostly reloaded. These do have ammo. These towers do need to be supplied. The good news is they don't need a worker, so you don't need to worry about that. However, I don't think it would be, so if I upgrade this, does it just upgrade the damage? So we need cut stones to upgrade them, but it will hold more stone balls once we get the upgrade going. All right, if you're noticing like little effervescent bubbles all over the place, that's mana. I can't absorb it right now because I don't have a mana capture device, but you have mana. Your mana bar will get larger as you become a more powerful god and you have like more believers and stuff. I have not gotten new believers in a little while, so it's taking a little bit of effort to get everything put together. But you can click dead bodies if you want to make them go away. Lots of stuff is interactable in this game. You should actually click around quite a bit to figure out what you can click on and what you can't click on. It's one of those games that has a bunch of little adorable indie details in it. Honestly, this game's art style is like my favorite. So it detects nearby dropped resources and then teleports them to the tower, requires an essence collector. I would like an essence collector because it'll start picking up these piles here, and then I can click on the essence collector when I need more mana in order to top up my mana bar in case I need to do a lot of casting. Uh-oh, monsters are getting restless. All right, let's get an essence collector. We'll kind of put it like near the towers, I guess. That way it grabs whatever gets murdered. Things should slowly vacuum towards it, as I recall. It's been a good long time since I played this game last, but it's kind of like riding a bike. You never quite forget it. It's one of those games that stuck with me over the years, and I always kind of want to come back to a little bit. Like, you ever come across like that game that even when you don't want to play it, you could play it? Like, it's kind of hard to describe like that. Hey, we got some God XP. Nice. Like, you ever have like those games that even when you're burned out on gaming and you don't feel like playing anything, you can still like kind of play it. Like, you won't be completely and totally engrossed, but I call those like holdout games. For me, it's stuff like, you know, like Path of Exile, where it's like, even if I'm not super into Path of Exile right now, I can still sit and play it for like 3 or 4 hours straight just to kill time, and it's not gonna like ruin my day or anything. This game has always been kind of like the indie version of that for me. It's always been one of those games that I can come back to and enjoy, regardless of whether or not I'm kind of in the mood to play it. And I think that's actually like a good thing. That means that the game has kind of like a laid-back energy to it. Let's go ahead and put another bullet tower right here, maybe. And then maybe another bullet tower right there, too. There's not really going to be anything else for them to work on over the course of the night, but monsters should start... You may see the beginning of their army kind of working its way through the woods to come attack me pretty soon. And in fact, there they are. You can see a little zombie right here that's trying to attack me, and you can see my little automatic machine gun SMG tower firing rocks at him. We've got one of our dogs named Dollar that is attacking the enemy. Every single character in this game levels up. Every single character in this game gets stronger and gets higher attack power, up to and including the dogs. Dogs in this game are not just a decoration. There's a reason that you want the dog houses. And the reason for that is... the dogs actually haul stuff in this game. A dog will load up like 5 logs on his back and carry it to the storage, or like take it to a building site and stuff like that for you. They don't always do it, but they mostly do it. And so having dogs around, that's why I've got a dog house that's got room, I think, for like 6 or 7 dogs in it. The only downside is you gotta feed the dogs. The dogs eat like resources like everybody else. So they are gonna eat into your food supply, and sometimes dogs can kind of like outrun your supplies because dogs join independently, just randomly. So if your economy is already kind of struggling a little bit, dogs can definitely tip that on over, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. Like, it's not too panic-inducing. Now, we are going to have to upgrade the village center again, but we will get 6 building slots for it, so that should be perfectly fine. And we'll go ahead and lock that on in. Is this tower done over here? These guys usually don't produce bullets. You can see the bullets being stored on racks over here. They don't usually make bullets until there's actually a place that requires those bullets. Like, they'll max out their storage and then they'll kind of like stop. But I don't know exactly what's happening here. And as you can see, when I click on these little guys right here, you see it siphoning off the energy now. Yeah, that's the good stuff right there. And you can see from this little meter that it fills up with energy, and there are things that we can do with that energy. I think there's a building that this can transfer to that I can click to fill up my mana bar, and then I also think there's other turrets and things, and there's like a golem assembler. If I remember correctly, there's a bunch of buildings that basically drain power from this thing in order to function, so that you don't have to like produce bullets for them or anything. They just function off the ammo that's stored inside the essence collector. There's actually probably a solid chance that we can get it. Wow, you guys upgraded that already? Nice. One thing I really like about this game is that so there's so many upgrades for all these buildings, and every single one of them like upgrades the graphic for the sprite. It's just so great. And we've got a few more things going right there. I would say upgrade it one more time. Let's give ourselves like a big surplus of buildings that we can build, because I don't like being confined in my building choices. And then, in order to make use of this essence collector, I would suggest that we start making phantom dart towers. I don't know if the phantom dart tower 100% has to be in range of the essence collector, or like how accurate that's going to be. And then what we'll try to do is I'm going to try... Ooh, that's a high-level zombie right there. He's not taking damage. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to build a wall that runs in front of all this. That we'll be assembling over the course of like the next 30 minutes of gameplay, just to get things locked on in. But this is essentially the game. It's kind of like grow what you have, get more population, unlock god perks, go back out to the world map, unlock new things that you can do with your XP, and then from there, continue building defenses and just getting safer and safer. And speaking of god powers, what kind of god powers are there? Well, I can take like a meteor, and I could drop that on those guys right there, like blow them up. What other stuff do we have? We have like lightning bolts, so I could zap them with lightning like I just did. Like, you definitely have the power to soften up targets before they get here. On top of that, there will be fires and things that spread. That guy had a boiled egg? Why he have a boiled... So, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that culinary-wise, I'm gonna eat a boiled egg that I found in the pocket of a zombie. I'm just not that cavalier with my food choices. That just feels like a real fast train way to get diarrhea to me. That feels like one of those things, you know, you're just tempting you're just testing the gastrointestinal devil. You're looking him dead in his eye and you're choosing to spit. You know what I mean? It's like, maybe not for me. Hey, we survived till morning. So there you go. You can siphon off mana, by the way, from the essence collector. I thought I remembered a mechanic like that where I could like mouse over it and it would just be like shoobity doobity doobity doop, which is my impression of how that's my impression of how magical energies coalesce. Shoobity doobity doobity doop. Like, that's what they sound like to me. And we do need to build some walls. Unfortunately, there's like crystals everywhere. So it's probably not going to be fantastically easy to build up like little curtain walls, basically. I'll probably just start with something small and something manageable. And then we'll kind of like double thick them out here. Yeah, something like that I think actually looks pretty good. And that's going to take them a big chunk of the day because I don't have that many miners, actually. We haven't had any immigrants in a really long time. What's wrong with you? Oh, never mind. So there's our little phantom dart traps right there. What'll happen is they will suck off damage they will suck off magic from the essence collector over here. Earthquake. Oh no, dude. The HPs of my buildings. Dude, how did the game know I'm from California? Stop it. What was that, dude? Like a 6.3? That doesn't scare me. You gotta do better than that. If it's not an 8.1, I don't even wake up, dude. Like, unless it can physically throw me out of bed, your earthquake ain't shit. All right? That's like, sometimes people be like, dude, there was like a 3.2 earthquake where I come from. And I'm like, ooh, a 3.2, huh? That must have been terrifying when you just like, oh, there's another one. Interesting. Wow, they're really giving it to us right now. Oh boy. There any more? Now I'm actually starting to get worried. The HP's starting to look a little bit bad on a lot of these buildings. You gonna hit me with a what is that thing? Is it just like a pit? Oh yeah, it's like a pit that fills up with water. Okay, well apparently it changed the topography a little bit, but I didn't expect 2 in a row. That's a little bit inconvenient. The good news is our water supply appears to be okay. It's going down at kind of like a more rapid rate than... Why is it going down so fast? Shouldn't we be gaining water? It's raining right now. Or is like our water tank leaking? It might just be everybody went to get their morning drink out of the well. That might be it. If I cut stones, I could take that up another level too, and I would very much like to do so. Oh, nice. And now we've actually got immigrants, so that'll be good. I need immigrants. I only have 1 free worker left over here, so I need more workers for sure. Like, I definitely need more people so that we can add new industries to this overall experience. They should, when they get done building the wall, start repairing all the buildings. Alistair Tenpenny has joined your village. That's the fanciest, most posh name I've ever heard in my life. Alistair Tenpenny. Alistair Tenpenny. Fair enough. Stay a while and listen. Lydia Paff is an elder. When villagers get into their upper years, they become elders and stop working. However, they share their wisdom with anyone who takes the time to chat with them. Okay, so they probably, like, give XP to other people, or they raise people's morale just via being in their area. Oh, yeah, look at all these rocks that just spawned over here by nature of the earthquake. Interesting. Alistair Tenpenny sounds like a guy that, like, in a Dickensian novel comes by and, like, beats a small child with a cane for, like, not eating his pudding properly. I don't know. I'm like, this one must be caned.
See here, Alistair Tenpenny finds it unacceptable the way that you've consumed your pudding. Now you must be beaten. Indeed, Alistair Tenpenny does not like it when he has to take time out of his day to beat a child, when he could be applying himself to more important things like brandy in the Nikkei markets.
There's the first round of repairing starting. They're fixing the lumberjack by just punching it over and over and over. We never invented hammers, but we did evolve incredibly hard fists, like a Geodude or something, and so we just hammer nails with our fists. It's made us tough, you know what I mean? From a young age, everyone in our society has to soak their hands in buckets of gasoline every morning to make the skin tough so that they can brawl. Oh, it's interesting. She shares wisdom with them even while they're working, so they don't have to take time off to go find Lydia. She comes to them and she just does like a little AoE that like gives them XP while they're working on other projects. 100% I will take that. That's actually, welcome on in, old people. All old people welcome. Keep giving all my people XP bonuses while they do other stuff so that they become better killers and fighters. All right, so I don't think we're gonna need more than like 8 builders. Like 8 builders feels sufficient to me right now, unless we're doing like a really big project. What we need to do though is with our 5 newfound individuals, I think we need to go to refining, and I think we need to get a stone cuttery. The stone cuttery will allow us to convert normal stones into stone blocks. The stone blocks are kind of like the second to last resource I'm gonna need before I can just go crazy with building. The other thing we're gonna need to do is we've got only 5 more housing slots left for villagers, so I'm gonna need to expand the size of some of these houses over here to make them a little bit more chunky. Now, houses, they have multiple, so some buildings are gonna have multiple work paths, or upgrade paths, I guess, so you might be able to focus on their storage, you might be able to focus on their efficiency, you might be able to focus on their amount of workers. For houses, you can focus on the quality of the housing, the amount of housing that you get, or like a mixture in between, or like how much food and water and whatnot the house can store. It's up to you. We are gonna have to tickle the land a little bit, I think. Yeah. Where's the... So I need the stimulate the earth key. Unfortunately, I can't motivate the earth because our meter's at funny sex number right now. Okay, well, it's not, but like, anyways, I need 700 mana in order to force crops to grow. So, we may have to tell our farmers to go get these cactuses over here that are kind of just like laying around. This map was not super plentiful with food. This map had a lot of material, but it did not have a lot of food, and so I think that's always going to be kind of like a long-term problem that we're going to have to struggle with. We could also upgrade our farm. That wouldn't be the most terrible of ideas. I'll probably actually go ahead and do that. Let's upgrade the farm. That way we can get a few more workers over here. I don't know if it's going to get a little bigger either. Like, I was hoping we could get this thing up to, like, major plantation size. This game has a really great soundtrack, too. It, like, alternates towards, like, kind of, like, somber bard music and then, like, ukulele music, dude. And I don't know, I find it really cozy and calm. Like, I find it a really easy game to just zone out and play for long periods of time. And I think that's largely to blame inside the UI for just the way that the game feels and sounds and the soundtrack that goes behind it, like the little sounds of the chopping and the sounds of the pickaxes. And it's like a game that comes at you fast, but once you've like learned it a little bit, you're good to go. But I suppose I've showed off the game now. This is Rise to Ruins, a game that I've covered many times in the past. I'm back because the developer has found funding for the game. Honestly, this is one of those titles that I feel like Dwarf Fortress's developers have been financing a lot of games lately. I feel like this is one of those lifetime projects that they would be interested in, that's been worked on for a really, really long time, and has a really unique angle. But time will tell. The developer found financing somewhere to keep working on the game, and so there have been multiple patches since the last time I covered it. Just be forewarned, this game is like largely like done. The developer still wants to work on it, but it's like mostly finished. The new updates being added in are a recent occurrence, and I'm hoping they continue because I think this game is super rad and can continue to get wilder and crazier and have more and more spectacle to it as time goes along. It's a game that, like, I don't know, I always end up coming back to and enjoying. Just be forewarned that, like, if you get the game, updates can be few and far between. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today we're playing Rise to Ruins. If you wanted to play this build that I'm currently playing, when you install the game, you have to right-click on it and go to the properties and tell it to be on the most recent unstable branch. That's how you get to, like, the new content and everything. I forgot to mention it. I will see you all later. Thanks for hanging out, and that's about all I've got. Bye, folks.